my point to you in this part of my little talk is this. If you know a state representative who is a good man or a good woman, do not assume that they're going to stay that way after they get to Little Rock. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go out here and have an affair and cheat on their wife or steal money or do something that would be illegal, but be careful that they don't lose that sharp edge that many of them have when they first arrive and think, I can do something. And pretty soon the powers that be tell them not to. And so if I were giving some advice to anybody from around the state, I would say, get in that representative's hip pocket, stay extremely close to them, and as soon as you hear them start rationalizing as to why they're not going to take the strong stand, then that would be your signal to begin asking them why. And asking them if there's, probing a little bit deeper. And they'll have a real good rationale. They will have a very good rationale because they will have rationalized it over and over in their mind to where they've even convinced themselves that this is the best move. It's a little bit like those of you who are ministers and you see somebody that wants to divorce their spouse or do something that's clearly maybe against what God would have, and they've got it rationalized and figured out, and you're having to talk them back from that and help them see that they're wrong. They're just flat out wrong on that. So that's my concern. And call this a word from God, or call it just my imagination, or you can just call it something I said. But I was in church the other Sunday, and I was just kind of thinking about the session, the legislative session, because I've done every legislative session since 1989. That's how many sessions I've been a part of. I was out there when Bill Clinton was governor, and there was probably one Republican in the Senate and maybe half a dozen Republicans in the House of Representatives out of 100 members. And most of those Republicans, thankfully, came from your part of the state. That's where a lot of them came from. And these were good folks. But I have seen people come out there and they just wilt when they get caught in that system that we call politics. Now, what do we do to prevent that? Well, one of the things that God put on my heart was to bring a godly presence into the Capitol. And as I meditated on this session, I said I thought about it, but I'll say I was meditating on it in church. Now, it wasn't during the sermon, it was during worship. I don't know if that's allowed or not. Never meditate or anything during the sermon. But I feel like God may have said to me, this is the session when good men do nothing. Now, I'd love to be proven wrong about that. And I hope that I am. But if I'm not proven wrong about that, here's what I believe has happened. Our Republican friends, who many of us agree with that party more than the other, finally have gotten into power. They've all got their offices, and they've extended term limits so they can be there for up to 16 years now in the House of Representatives. And now they are preoccupied with, how do I keep my job? How do I keep my job? And as soon as they get focused on how do I keep my job, then they've lost focus of why they came in the first place. And I believe that's what we may be embarking on during this session. Because I've already had word from here and there, different parts, I won't tell you where, of like, well, we're not going to do one of those bathroom bills, are we? Are we? We're not going to do one of those, are we? And you're not going to stir things up like you did before, are you? Like we did on the religious freedom law and on the bill, the interstate commerce law that hopefully will result in the Eureka Springs ordinance being declare it unenforceable. And so I can just feel the, like, please don't make me uncomfortable attitude on the part of some of our lawmakers. And so that's something I think you can pray about. And encourage them, the ones you know, to have courage and be more concerned about what God thinks than what the governor or the Speaker of the House or the President of the Senate might say. Because I think one of these days, we're all going to stand before God. We know that. And if God were to say, I allowed you to be a state senator, I allowed you to be the governor of a state, tell me about how you used what I gave you. Let's look at that. How did you use that? And that's true really with all of us. He gave some of us pulpits, and he gave some of us nonprofit organizations, and he gave some of us classes to teach or whatever. I mean, and so that holds true with all of us. But shame on us if we squander what God has given us. And I think probably part of the reason that Donald Trump got elected is folks got tired of seeing good men and women squander their elected office by not doing anything. They promised us walls and secure borders and all these other things, and just it never happened. And finally people just said, enough of that. Donald Trump may be a little on the crazy side, but we're voting for him. And we're going to roll the dice and see what happens.